Okay, I'm going to read this shit. This just popped up. Now, I've been signing shit like this on and off for a long time. Well, not off. I've been signing like a bunch of them through these people specifically because I don't really like signing these things, but if they're actually gonna make a difference, let's fucking hope. You know, I'll do it. It does what it takes. But nearly 2,000 New Jerseyans tell legislators legalize marijuana through legislation this season. Now, this is the 21st, which is yesterday. Bro, the English language is fucking weird. This says New Jerseyans in mass, and they spell it ENMASSE. Yeah, I'm seeing the same shit, dude. I don't think it works either because I've signed a gang of these things and it doesn't do shit. But I will, read it anyway, just because I'm curious to see what did they do with it, right? Unless you're out there with torches and pitchforks. So I have a memory which I think I made up. I think I made it up in my mind that before there was American Disabilities Act, that a bunch of people with CP and all kind of other shit wound up going to the fucking White House and demanded that there be legislation to protect people with disabilities before there was any. I tried to look this up a little while ago and I didn't find anything. So I think I might have just made up that memory in my mind. I'm pretty sure. But I thought I saw it on a documentary somewhere. Maybe it was a dream. I don't know. I had a dream last night that was pretty fucked up. When I woke up, I was gonna write it down. But then I said, fuck it, I'll remember it. And I never do. We should do that again. We should do that again. It works. It works. But they said and I hate this New Jerseyans. I mean, it's shorter than saying residents of New Jersey, right? New Jerseyans in mass called on New Jersey's legislative leadership to legalize marijuana through legislation. That's a fucking tongue twister right there. Before the end of the session via sign-on letter sent by the ACLU of New Jersey. Now you know what they're gonna do with this letter. They're gonna do like Slipknot did on that hidden track on their first album. They're gonna look at that letter and they could go, "You can suck these nuts." That's what they're gonna do. Exactly what they're going to do. We already know that. We already know that because you're scared. You're scared and you're phony. I said it. You got a problem with what I'm saying, bro? Come on in. So, legislative leadership, Governor Phil Murphy, and all members of General Assembly received this sign-on letter just days after Senate President Sweeney announced intentions to push a ballot measure forcing voters to decide on a constitutional amendment rather than go through a legislative process. Which I want to make my thoughts very clear on this. Let's be clear here for anybody that doesn't know, right? I think it's important and I think that we should be able to change things, right? Through things like this. If they put some shit up for a vote, people can decide whether it happens or not. However, the problem with that is they don't say we're going to legalize weed. What? Take our survey and help us understand MS treatment decisions. Oh, I'm doing that. Don't you worry about that. I guess they hear me talking about weed. So, bro, you know what? let me go one thing at a time, one thing at a time. And the ironic part is I was just editing a podcast about an hour ago, and when this popped on, I was like, you know what? Let me do this for a second to break up what I was doing there. You know, the letter PDF garnered almost 2,000 signatures, including those from individuals from all 21 New Jersey counties who combined their voices to urge lawmakers to pass legislation that prioritizes racial and social justice and ends the state's 30,000 plus annual marijuana arrests. 30,000 annually. Do you want to know what some fucking dunce cap said to me on Facebook yesterday? Some fucking moron lady goes, "Oh, they will never come out. They will never leave their house to vote on a legalized weed bill because they'll be too stoned to get up off of their couch." Bro, 2019, bitch, we got weed that you can smoke that will send you through the fucking roof like the coyote on the back of a rocket, dude. You don't know. Clearly, somebody never told you about green crack, which is a really bad example for me to use right now, or some fucking purple haze, dude, right? Fuck out of here, man. If you're smoking weed with your time and all you do is sit on the couch all day in Cheeto dust, what the fuck are you doing, man? The last time I smoked, bro, I hit that shit and I was like, dude, I feel like I can run a mile right now. I feel amazing. And a really weird thing happened to me. A really weird thing happened to me. Now, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but the last time I smoked. Okay, cool. Now it says that my channel is live. All right. So the last time I smoked, I'm in pain all this time, every day. As we speak right now, my fucking knees are killing me, dude. I feel like I've been sucking dick for the better part of the day right now. Like prostitutes don't get enough fucking credit, man. You know what I mean? Like I can't even I don't even like I wouldn't let I shouldn't I really shouldn't do this right now. Well, fuck, it's the truth, dude. It's the truth, dude. You can skip over this part later if you want. I wouldn't let Jen get on her knees to blow me, dude. One, that's rude. That's fucking rude to do. And two, we live in an era where we can find a different way for you to do it that's comfortable for you and works for me also. We don't have to be greedy, right? I shouldn't have to go out and buy fucking knee pads for me to get a blowjob, once a year, whatever it is. I should really keep a calendar. I should keep a calendar. That's what I should do. I should keep a fucking calendar and figure out how many times a year do certain things happen. And, not that anybody gives a shit, but a lot of people make jokes about that, about how, when you're in a relationship for a long time, things tend to dry up. And I don't think it's that. I think a big part of it is the fact that I don't feel comfortable. After 14 fucking years, I still don't feel comfortable being like, "Hey, help me out real quick." I don't feel comfortable doing it, and apparently she doesn't either. So half the time, nothing gets done until one of us decides to just be like, "Fuck it, you know what? Today's the day. I'm making a move." And then when you get shot down, it's even worse because then you don't try for like a year after that. But anyway, back on track. Overwhelming majority of New Jersey supporters. God, I can't do it. Look, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I I have to be who I am, right? If you're out in internet land right now and you are a supporter of this legalization, if you are disapproving of this legalization, maybe you're a Senate assembly member, maybe you're a judiciary person, maybe you're the governor, doubt it. But you have to understand, dude, that I have to do things the way that I know how to do them. So I'm going to say things that are going to make you a little uncomfortable, probably. But I need you to understand that these conversations take place all day, every day. And don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Because you, as much as you think that suit hides who you really are, you're a person just like me. And maybe you don't feel comfortable talking about, things of a sexual variety. But me personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't mind. It's not like I'm saying anything crazy. Like there's definitely lines, There's certain things I just wouldn't do. But at the same time, you gotta be comfortable with it, man. Overwhelming majority of New Jersey supporters, cannabis legalization, or I'm sorry, the overwhelming majority of New Jerseyan supporters. This sentence, help me, please. Help me, please. Tell me how this sentence makes sense. The overwhelming majority of New Jerseyans supporters. I would think that should say support cannabis legalization, right? But it says supporters with an S at the end. Is that to show that there are multiple people that support it? Is that the proper way that sentence is supposed to be done? Or was it maybe just a typo? And because I don't know really proper grammar and spelling all that great. Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise. A fucking idiot that barely got through high school supports weed legalization. I'm shocked. You're exactly the type of person we're talking about. And you know what, dude? I don't want to hear nothing from you. I don't want to hear nothing from you because in the 12th grade, 3 weeks away from graduation, I dropped out of high school. And then you know what I did? I went to night school for 2 years and got my fucking high school diploma. So don't talk to me about drive, bro. And if you were wondering, spoiler alert, I was actively smoking marijuana at the time. It doesn't make you lazy. It doesn't make the majority of people lazy. I know people that we can get into that later. Let me finish this here. They support legalization. Today, scores of concerned residents joined together to let lawmakers know that we need to legalize, tax, regulate adult use marijuana through legalization, said ACLU-NJ Executive Director. I'm going to butcher your name, sir or ma'am. To be completely honest with you, from the way that your name looks, I don't know. I'm not sure what you Amol Sinha, I think. AMOLSINHA. I apologize. I don't know how to say things. Look, people mispronounce my last name my entire life and they still do it now. They think that my last name is a fucking dinner dessert, which is ridiculous. Every moment without cannabis legalization means that almost 100 marijuana arrests per day, with communities of color disproportionately bearing the brunt of enforcement. Our state needs legalization in a way that secures racial and social justice, and a ballot measure cannot give that assurance. Now, why is it that you say that? Well, like I tried to say a time before, is even I'm pretty sure that I read this somewhere, and we will double check it later, but I'm pretty sure that even if we did vote on a ballot, there's still a chance that it could not go through. And not only that, we're still not talking about home cultivation. The fact that you will not allow people to grow marijuana plants in their home is fucking ridiculous. Now, okay, you want to make an argument for recreational? We don't think the average person should. You see what I did? I just censored myself there for you. That is probably not going to watch this because I'm not in a suit. I'll go change right now. If you feel more comfortable, I'll get in a suit and get my news anchor on. I could do it. Go back to that skit I did with the fucking Sound of Silence that was terribly cut up that I could probably do better today with the knowledge I have if I didn't upgrade VSDC, which has I've lost the cut button. So I had to figure out how I'm going to edit videos now. But if you want to say that recreational users, you don't want them growing in your house, I don't understand it, but okay. But you should, at the very least, allow those of us who are medically qualified to grow plants in our homes. And not only that, I have personally laid this argument out to my state legislators. And I said, I want you to think about this. This is not the way that I wrote it in the email. It's a lot more cleaned up and all that stuff. But I said something along the lines of I want you to imagine somebody who is disabled, right? And they can't do a whole lot, right? And maybe they feel they get down on themselves sometimes because of that, because they have limited mobility, whatever it is. Allowing them to grow a marijuana plant in their home, and I know you can make an argument, well, they could just go get a regular plant. Yeah, but it's not the same thing. Over the course of a year to a 2-year period, they could watch as a seed that they put into dirt grows a wonderful plant, which then they can pick medication off of. And if you're worried about what if they do it wrong, I hear you, which is exactly why we should hold classes. Bro, if you want people to not do, as my neighbor would say, bald head shit, then you need to help them, give them an opportunity. Give them an opportunity. That's all most people really want. I have to tell you, dude. You know, it gives them an opportunity to see something that they've made with their hands themselves, and they've taken care of this thing and they've nurtured it, and now it's grown the fruits of their labors. You know, could you actually use 1,000-watt grow bulb in your apartment? Would they allow that? That's a good question. I have no idea. Although, judging by the electricity in this apartment, I had a blow dryer plugged in and the lights were flickering. So I don't know if this electricity system would be able to handle 1,000-watt bulb. But we should look into that. And I really do mean this. If there was a class that I could go to learn how to grow a weed plant in my home that I could have and learn, trial and error and make a weed plant, I would totally do it. I would totally do it. The letter sent the message that the Garden State cannot wait until 2021 to legalize marijuana, and that New Jerseyans should not be forced to vote on a broad constitutional amendment with no details about implementation, especially regarding racial and social justice. Without a constitutional amendment, the legislature would still have to pass follow-up legislation to map out details of what legalization would look like in its practice. We could talk about that if it gets legal. Yeah, 100%. We definitely need to do that. So look, expungement, right? That's not all they're having us vote on right now, potentially at this moment in time in 2021, is if marijuana should be legalized for adult recreational use of 21 years or older. It says nothing about home cultivation, nothing about expungement, nothing about the people who may currently be locked up at that point in time for marijuana possession, low level distribution, or non-violent crimes. It says nothing about any of that. It says nothing about taxes and fees, licensing, nothing. There's not a damn thing about any of that. And I don't know about you, but I'm not comfortable with voting on something like that. Not to mention that most people already, even people that are pro weed in the state of New Jersey, are anti this bill from the beginning because there's no home cultivation on there. Patients such as myself with multiple sclerosis and other things are anti this weed bill because they feel that their voices are not being heard. So think about that. I mean, really. You expanded to the governor, Phil Murphy. You expanded medical marijuana because of a child. I think it was like a 5 or 6 year old child who has since passed away due to medical issues. And that prompted you to expand medical marijuana. All I'm asking you to do is I want you to take that same train of thought and I want you to apply it to adults because unfortunately, unless you're a 6-year-old child or somebody that's important, nobody cares about what happens to us when we get older. Everybody that's all right, you know what? I'm not even going to bring up the second point because I know that would divide people further than they already are. The point that I'm trying to make to you, sir, is simply this. By not thinking about us, this group of people who I'm sure has a healthy population in your very state, it's neglectful, plain and simple. And I'm not saying that you never thought about it at all, but the fact that it has not been brought up one time and it all goes back to the same thing over and over again, where we hear certain Democrats and Republicans argue back and forth on whether marijuana should be legalized, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You want to talk about a fucking opioid epidemic, and I was doing good, I didn't curse. You want to talk about an opioid epidemic, yet marijuana is an issue. Pennies on the dollar for pills, a whole nother argument. I understand. Opioids are good for some people, but it all leads down the same road. If we have home cultivation, that would make it cheaper for a lot of us, not to mention the fact that, if you made the prices affordable, you would virtually get rid of the underground market that you keep talking about that you want to get rid of. Okay, your dispensaries are not going to compete with street prices. That's just a fact. People would rather spend less money and buy a product that is not regulated than to go through your dispensary, which, according to the laws, are technically still not regulated by the FDA anyway, and spend double the amount of money to get whatever marijuana through a dispensary. You have to be able to see that. It makes sense. Maybe I need to get 2,000 people in here. Do a podcast where I interchange 2,000 people and you can hear these statements live and in person. Maybe that's what I should do. For far too long, the prohibition of cannabis has devastated communities across New Jersey. In that time, the prohibition of cannabis has intensified racial disparities in the criminal justice system and arrests have skyrocketed. The sign-on letter open in legislation through legalization, New Jersey would create regulatory framework to protect the public health and safety of communities, foster economic opportunities, and establish critical racial and social justice provisions. Last week, the ACLU-NJ issued a data brief showing a dramatic uptick in marijuana-related arrests on top of severe racial disparities in marijuana arrests between 2013 and 2017. Arrests grew from 27,923 arrests to 37,623 arrests, representing a 35% increase. In New Jersey, black people are arrested at a rate 3 times higher than white people, despite similar usage. Now, I understand that, and I'm not even saying anything against that. However, white people do get arrested too. I want everybody out there to understand that. The people who think that just because I'm white, I have some kind of privilege where, you know, a cop would catch me with some weed and just let me go because I happen to be white. Not the case. As a matter of fact, I would argue that probably the only reason why I haven't been shot dead in a vehicle because of a police officer is probably the fact that I'm white. But other than that, I've asked around, I've talked to a lot of people, and I've gotten pretty much the same. I've been beat up by cops, all kinds of shit. So, I understand. This Pinky understands. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not saying it's the same for me, but it if anybody can relate to the struggle, I can relate. So you go on and be offended by that. I don't care. It's the facts, dude. I thought Italian was a minority. Well, don't apparently not. Because when you say that, you get laughed out of a fucking room, right? I mean, I don't. Even if it isn't, I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm disabled, so that's got to be a minority of some type. And even if it's not, like, not. I know that sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, as if I would want. Nobody wants to be in smaller numbers to where people can get away with treating them like garbage. Nobody wants that. Everybody should be treated exactly the same. But the reality of the fact is we don't live in that kind of a world, unfortunately. Someone is arrested for marijuana every 14 minutes in our state, disproportionately. Those arrested are black and brown and white. I'm going to add that in there. That's not what it says, but I'm adding that in there. Because white people are arrested too. Maybe this could be very well where you lose some of these Republican people because they see that. I don't know. I'm not them. I'm not gonna try to speculate on what it is that they say. At the end of this, I will have to try to throw something together that I can actually put up by itself in an attempt to reach some of these people, which I know will not work. Simply because I don't have. It doesn't matter. Those arrested are black and brown, said the ACLU-NJ police director, or policy director, rather, Sarah Fajaro. I doubt I got that right. If we fail to call for an up or down vote on legislation to legalize marijuana for adult use, we are prolonging the injustice of making nearly 100 arrests per day for the next 2 years. 100 arrests a day for the next 2 years. And that's probably a ballpark number. New Jerseyans cannot wait any longer for legalization, and the message New Jersey has sent with this letter to its legislators. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the letter. Download it. Open. This is what the letter actually says. Dear Senate President Sweeney, Assembly Speaker Coughlin, and Governor Murphy. In New Jersey, a cannabis-related arrest is made approximately every 14 minutes. Communities of color are disproportionately burdened by the current cannabis law enforcement, with data inciting that Black people in New Jersey are 3 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis possession than white people, despite similar use of rates. These arrests subject people across New Jersey to lifelong collateral consequences and keep marginalized community entangled in our criminal justice system. We must do better. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it 100 more. Marijuana should not be a life sentence. 14 years later, almost 14 years later, I still can't rent an apartment because of 3 grams of marijuana. It's ridiculous. To begin to repair the harms of cannabis prohibition, New Jersey must pass cannabis legalization legislation. This is centered in racial and social justice. And importantly, we must pass it now. The longer we wait, the more lives we put at harm. The longer we wait, the more we delay justice for tens of thousands of individuals and their family. We have gathered signatures from New Jerseyans asking you to pass legislation to legalize cannabis during the lame duck section of this year. We, the undersigned, strongly urge you to stand with us and continue to push for legalization that legalizes cannabis for adult use. And then it continues on to say all of the stuff that we already read. Just out of curiosity, I want to see if there's anybody I know that may have signed it. Quickly, if I can. Well, these are a lot of signatures to look through. I mean, honestly, there's probably, hold on, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 and a quarter pages of signatures. Just this time alone. My eyes are burning. Damn. This is wild, man. So I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to make a single bit of difference. I really don't. I think it's going to land on somebody's desk, and that somebody is going to take it off of their desk, turn to their garbage can, and throw it right out. That's what I think is going to happen. I think if they really cared, they would do something. But why would they? Because it doesn't affect them, right? That's the logic of thinking, isn't it? Talking about JFK. Yeah, people are wild, man. People are wild, man. That's disgusting. It's not hot to see you licking a banana, dude. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what it would take. Is it because it doesn't affect you directly? Is your line of thinking, well, it's illegal, and if you didn't do illegal activities, then you would have nothing to worry about? Is that what you think? Is that the way that you think? Because if it is, I have to tell you, it's a very old way of thinking. I mean, really ask yourself honestly, what are you worried about? It's been stated many, many times before, alcohol is legal, and the numbers for death, arrests related to that particular substance are high. But nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that because it's a done deal. Now, I heard it being brought up in the Senate hearing when all of this started last year, the year before, whenever it was. That was brought up as an argument, which passed the bill before it ultimately got shot down anyway, because apparently, from what I heard, there were deals being made behind closed doors between the Senate and the governor, and the Senate and Governor Murphy had apparently agreed to some type of a deal to expand medical marijuana and recreational marijuana, and they asked him not to say anything about expanding medical marijuana, and then he went on television and announced it anyway, much to their dismay. So then they shot down the recreational bill in cold blood. That's what happened. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. If that's the case, too much of a monopoly. Nobody wants to be that person who pushes for it. Never forget when Obama said he would do much better for out in front of office than in it. Yeah, dude, I knew. I knew the second he got in office that he wasn't going to do it. Because all they want is the same thing that Murphy is doing. They run on legalized marijuana because they know for a bunch of people that are too high to get up off of their couches, we certainly do wind up voting you into office, don't we? And yes, I include that. I am in that group of people because even if I'm not actively smoking, I stand by it. It's wild, man. Honestly, I don't know. I wish I could say I believed in the system, but when things like this happen, it really makes you question the system that we have in place. Is it really a system that works? Doesn't it seem like it? It doesn't seem like it. I wonder. I really do wonder though, like how do you sit in an office on Capitol Hill or whatever wherever you are and know that this many people get arrested for shit. And it's not that every single person is just looking to get banged up. Some people can't afford medical marijuana. Some people don't want to go on opioids as an alternative. They don't want back surgery because some of those things are life altering decisions. So they decide to take a gamble and they go with weed anyway. And they happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or somebody decides to work with the police department, they get arrested and they go to jail. Now they're a statistic. But we don't talk about that. Because when you talk about marijuana arrests, the only thing that you think of is some guy walking around in a Cheech and Chong t-shirt, tie-dyeing, all that. And that's all you think about. You don't consider the many different walks of life of people that this stuff affects. The shit that this does. I don't understand how you can take a trip out to Colorado, look at their system, see what it's doing, say you're going to model a similar system in New Jersey, and then not do it. And you all said, I would like to remind you, every one of you said that when Chris Christie was in office, the second that he left, Democrats and Republicans alike said that you would legalize weed for the betterment of the state to stop this senseless activity from happening. And the second you get a guy that comes along that's willing to do that, the first thing you do is shut it down. How does that make sense? What good are you then? What good are you then? And I say that in the kindest way possible. Because what are you doing? Would you be willing to put up your track record of what it is that you've done since you've held that office that you're in? Because I'm curious. I'm sure you've done things. I'm not saying that you're all completely useless, but you can't act as if this is not important. What is the real reason behind this fear mongering? What is it really that you're trying to do? What is it you're afraid of? Cigarettes are 100% legal, and they're guaranteed to kill millions of people a year. There's nothing beneficial about smoking cigarettes. Nothing. And nobody's worried about doing anything about that. But you won't legalize marijuana? How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Like, dude, come on, man. I know somewhere in all of this there's a rational argument to be made, but how long can you be rational for? I've heard rumblings about this since the last year of George Bush's I forgot. I forgot the word. What's it called? Administration. Since George Bush's administration was in office, I've heard rumblings of this. Still nothing. Come on, man. What are we really doing? And then you wonder why people don't go out and vote. Because what? It's like you don't care. And it's not just for fuck weed smokers. It's not just for that. There are people that are for legalization and we don't even smoke weed. But keep thinking that it's just one type of person that does it. Because that's I guess how you get in your bed, you lay your head in the pillow and you go to sleep at night. Because maybe it doesn't affect you. Maybe because your wife or your husband, your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your mom isn't going to jail for weed. So doesn't concern you. If we started locking people up for alcohol tomorrow, a lot of you would be in some serious trouble. Just saying. So why is it okay? It doesn't make sense. And I'm tired of talking about this, man. Because it's all for nothing. It's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. How many times are you going to bring up the same eventually, if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. But you won't just come out and saying it's not going to get done. You keep saying maybe next year. Maybe next time. We have to figure it out. I don't want a dispensary in my town. Oh no, but you're perfectly okay with a methadone clinic, huh? That's all right. There's a Walgreens and a Rite Aid on practically every corner in my county anyway. Nobody says a damn thing about that. Why? Because you can go in, grab a roll of toilet paper, your narcotics, and whatever else you want at the same time. Is that what it is? I don't know. Stupid. Hopefully, I really, you would think this state being as big as it is, as big of a tourist attraction as it is Atlantic City, Seaside Heights, that they would be smart enough to realize there's money to be made. Because that's the only thing that motivates you, it seems like, is money. I don't know, man. I've lost all the little bit of hope that I did have when Murphy was elected is gone now. It's over. From this moment on, if he winds up leaving office when his term is over and somebody else gets elected in, it won't surprise me if weed is not legalized. It wouldn't shock me. Because you can't trust anything any of you say. You gotta change that, man. Well, no, you don't have to though, because you still get you'll keep your chair, right? Everybody's happy. Doesn't matter. You want to know why people don't come out and vote? Because whenever there's something that actually a lot of us can agree on, all you want to do is shoot it down. I don't get it. Just tired of going over the same thing over and over and over again. Stupid. You don't think that a police officer's time would be better devoted to looking for real drugs, keeping hardcore drugs off of the street? Makes more sense, doesn't it? Trying to go after real criminals, pedophiles, rapists, things of that nature seems to make a little bit more sense to me anyway, but I don't know nothing. I'm just a regular dude, just stated my opinion. Maybe I don't know how difficult your job is. But the bottom line is all you guys have to do, all you have to do is just go, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. You sign the bill. We all figure it out together. It could be done. I mean, after all, that's the whole purpose of why you are where you are. Right? Maybe not. I don't pretend to know. I don't pretend to understand. I guess if there's any update, I'll come back on here and we'll talk about that some more. Hopefully, we get to a place where we can talk about home cultivation. That would be very helpful, considering how much you guys are charging for it. But, you know, what are you going to do? Came with them all, I guess. I'm going to leave this here for now. I'm not going to bother cutting out something to try to push it forward and, you know, get promotion under it to try to reach somebody. Because at the end of the day, whatever, if 2,000 people together don't make a difference, what is one person going to do? Somebody with a record and a white dude on top of that. I'm not going to accomplish anything. So there that is. You know, we'll just leave it here and I will leave this one up for anybody that wants to watch it and get offended and get triggered by whatever it is that I say. To everybody, I guess you gotta be careful until they figure out what they want to do. Hopefully, you make enough money. If you're in a similar situation like I am, to get off the pills, to get on the weed, probably safer that way. But not all of us are that lucky. But what do I know, right?